back to Riksha Vibhavana, the tropical Vedic podcast, where we take a closer look at the astrology of the week ahead. Our focus is the week of Sunday, November 30th to Saturday, December 6th. And the astrology of the week ahead really centers on Thursday's full moon in Gemini, appearing in the nakshatra Rohini, a constellation intimately associated with creative intelligence, while at the same time the heavens shift dramatically into a highly mobile transitional configuration. And we'll unpack that in a moment. For now, we have to return to where this lunar month began. The month opened under a new moon in late Scorpio, a descent into the interior. Scorpio does not reveal through ease, it reveals through pressure. But those revelations are highly significant. Many of us may have been living inside a heightened awareness of our own vulnerabilities during the last few weeks and a sense of emotional overexposure to areas we may prefer to ignore. These insights are significant because they can inspire a course correction. Scorpio's alchemical softening can be disorientating, especially if we resist confronting the insecurities it illuminates. Scorpio shows us not only our own fragility, but the universality of vulnerability. We all suffer, we all doubt our goodness at times. Scorpio ultimately teaches us how intimately our inner life mirrors the inner life of others, opening the door to deeper compassion for ourselves and others. And now we arrive at the full moon in Gemini, shining in the luminous, fertile temple of Rohini, the star Aldebaran, closely associated with the goddess Sarasvati, the Vedic goddess of learning. Reflecting on the arc of this lunar month, this is the moment when what was dimly sensed becomes articulate, where the emotional intensity of Scorpio is converted into intelligible understanding. A full moon in Gemini brings an influx of ideas, a sudden rising of thoughts, signals, conversations, new options that seem to appear out of nowhere. For better or for worse, expect a buzz in the ether around the time of the full moon. What has been incubating in the subconscious begins to move toward expression. There is a quickening of the mind, a sharpening of language, a desire to name what has been felt but not yet formed. Under this moon, fresh opportunities for communication open, opportunities to write, to teach, to publish, to broadcast, and to compare notes. And there is something else about this full moon that deepens its significance. The moon is in Gemini, yes, but its ruler Mercury is still in Scorpio, and the moon perfects. It comes to fullness exactly 8 signs away from that very Mercury placement. In the language of astrology, this 8th house spacing is especially notable. It's the signature of the hidden becoming visible. But this full moon is only part of the week's story. As soon as its light peaks, the sky tilts sharply into Dviswabhava territory. The dual-natured, mutable signs of the zodiac are fully activated. Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces are all bristling with energy, creating a season of movement, transition, and reorientation. Therefore, we can expect some shakeups. The Sun, Mars, and Venus, and soon Mercury gather in the sign of Sagittarius. Rahu and Saturn has been in Pisces for some time, and Ketu holds on in Virgo. The sky becomes restless, responsive, and most importantly for us, alive with possibility. Wherever these mutable signs rule in your chart, those areas will now stir, shift, and accelerate towards transformation. And here a brief reflection on the archetypal significance of this shift is essential, because the mutable signs of the zodiac have always been imbued with a two-natured iconography. Pisces gives us two fishes bound together, swimming in opposite directions, the dual currents of the ocean of awareness, one leading to incarnation, the other to release. We have the image of Gemini, the primordial pair, the twins, Mithuna, the man and woman, the dyad of self and other, expression and reception. In ancient Greek lore, one twin is mortal and the other divine, illustrating the same dual movement, one foot on earth, the other in heaven. And then there is Sagittarius, the centaur, half animal, half human, the primal creature lifting its gaze towards the infinite, instinct married to aspiration, the earthly fused with the celestial. And Virgo, Kanya, the virgin, who at first appears singular, but also carries a hidden duality. In Egyptian iconography, the oldest star lore available to us, she is Isis with Horus, the mother and the divine child, nourishment and the one nourished. Later Christian tradition echoes this in the image of the Theotokos and Christ, the Virgin and the incarnate Word. Virgo's two-naturedness is subtle but profound. She is both container and giver, mother and virgin, field and harvest. These forms remind us that mutable seasons are transitional. Worlds can meet. Rigid patterns become malleable. Life stands between states and can become something completely new. And into this vibrant field of possibility, the full moon in Rohini appears on Thursday, December 4th. And it's worth keeping in mind that every full moon marks a moment of tension. It is, after all, an astronomical opposition of the sun and the moon. We will see this opposition play out on Thursday with the sun setting in the west and the full moon rising in the east, facing one another across the sky. The receptive and the active currents within and without held in suspension. But this particular full moon unfolds along one of the most intellectually and spiritually charged axes of the zodiac, Gemini and Sagittarius, associated with Mercury and Jupiter. On one side, we have Gemini hosting the moon, quick, articulate, experimental, mobile. Gemini follows ideas wherever they lead, in the way a river finds tributaries. One thought sparks two more. Its nature is to gather, to question, to explore possibilities without demanding any single one of them to be ultimate and final. Gemini delights in complexity, in dialogue, in the branching of pathways. On the other side, we have Sagittarius, where the sun stands alongside Mars and Venus. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of meaning, coherence, philosophical integration, and often, it has to be said, dogma. Not dogma in the pejorative sense, but in the human sense, the deep desire for a worldview, for orientation, for a single thread of truth that binds the world together in a single word, dharma. Sagittarius wants the arrow, the one-pointed direction that can guide action and give our story coherence. It doesn't want multiplicity, it seeks meaning. This full moon highlights this tension, not asking us to pick the one over the other, but to stand in the space between them, to let Gemini give us the language, the options, the insights, the dialogue and openness to possibility, and let Sagittarius ask the larger questions. What is this insight pointing towards? What does it mean? And most importantly, what am I to do about it? Mars, accompanying the sun in Sagittarius, is ready to pour energy into our pursuance of purpose and is in fact preparing us for December's new moon in Sagittarius, a very action-orientated new lunar month. And anchoring this entire mutable surge of energy is Jupiter, still in Cancer, exalted but retrograde and immensely protective. Jupiter stands outside the mutable mode, framing the entire drama, still echoing the grand water trine of last week, encouraging a course guided by wisdom, care, and sincerity. In summary, The week brings the full moon in Gemini, a moment of clarity after the deep introspection of Scorpio season. What was felt beneath the surface now becomes articulate. The mutable signs are activated, and with that activation comes movement, a shift in focus, a change in pace, and a sense that certain areas of life are ready to adapt and reorientate. With the Sun, Mars, and Venus gathering in Sagittarius, the energy turns outwards. There's a growing push towards purpose, direction, and meaningful action. This would be a great time to revisit your own chart and find the astrological house dominated by Sagittarius. This is the area of life lighting up in the next few weeks. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. I have been your host, Kavi. To stay connected, you can find me on Instagram at Eye of the Vedas. If you feel called to explore your own chart in more depth, I offer personalized readings and one-on-one study through my page. Wishing you a luminous new week ahead. Hare Krishna.